This one stock can change early buyers' lives. I'm not a financial advisor, but some financial advisors might say to buy as much as possible before December 20th. The ticker is AG. The company is First Majestic Silver. They are a silver mine. They have multiple mines. They're out of Canada, and gold has gone on a massive run. It held recently after a little bit of, that euphoria was crazy. So it came down a little bit. Silver now having its run, and you could say, why not buy gold again? You can't. Gold actually seems to be doing pretty well after that bottoming. Silver as well. They're both at a point where they've gone up significantly. We'll look at the charts, and they've come back a little bit and sort of tested important levels. So gold and silver are often correlated. They're not always going together. Central banks buy gold as a, we're not gold-backed currency, believers anymore, I guess. But it is bought as a safe haven, a reserve asset. Silver, not so much. Silver is used for industrials. So think like, solar panels or turbines and stuff like that. And interestingly, there are a couple of turbine companies that are doing really well as this AG ticker. And I'll speak to those, but the tickers I'll give you right now, CMI and WWD, Woodward. So there's other tickers as well I'll throw at you right now. CBRE, commercial real estate, is also interesting, and Capital One, COF. So that's a lot of tickers. I'll give you that and more. This is not financial advice, but I hope it helps.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 All right, so this is actually live, and your chats show up here. Of course, you're watching this recording. You get the benefit of those questions being asked, as long as they're not terrible. So this is silver, and they're out of Canada. And here's the deal. When you look at the chart, this thing is holding up pretty exceptionally if we look at silver itself, so silver futures. I could just say, the futures look the best. They do look the best. But this is not about telling you, ideas for futures, right? Because in general, futures is more challenging. We'll just keep it at that. It's more challenging. I certainly don't want to do things that are more challenging than they have to be. So I think silver's holding in there at a good left side peak spot. Little bit of a up day here. If we're being super real, I think the ETF's probably even better because it has a smaller green day here. So you're not getting in on as much as a gap. And this is what we're seeing in terms of gold. This is what I'm talking about in terms of this pivot level, this pullback, and then this building. So, there are gold names. This is sort of everything, precious metals. That's not a great analogy, but they all sort of look the same. This is definitely a gold mine. Kinross, AEM. I don't really love the choppiness and the slowness of this one. NEM, a little more interesting. And then as far as these industrial names, CMI holding up pretty strong, little flag there. It's slow, but still. And then this Woodward, is also a little messy, but it's definitely forming something as long as it breaks to the upside. CBRE, I also mentioned. Big flag here, so keep an eye on that. And then there was one more. I totally forgot what it is. Oh, yeah. There's actually a few more that I went a little crazy here, but Lemonade had massive strength today, so it looked like it was possibly going to break down, but nope. Now it's totally messing with people. So maybe if it comes back one more day, it'll be perfect, but maybe it'll just leave people in the dust. Estee Lauder holding up, same sort of Lemonade reversal situation. So you could buy it over a type stop, or you could let it cool off for a second. Dollar General, good strength. And this is probably the most interesting in terms of risk reward. So keep an eye on that. And then CDE as well, another minor name. looks pretty awesome. If it can build out, great, but otherwise, super tight stop right there could be great. So I guess I'll just skip the levels. I mean, who really, it's kind of a personal thing anyway. Maybe I'll regret that. I don't know. But let me know in the chat if you want me to do levels in the future. I mean, I definitely show them, but it's obviously the stocks are chosen with levels in mind, so maybe we'll chill on the levels. As far as the whole broader market, it's the same as it's been. You know, I went through these diligently. These are the ones I found. Industrials is up a little bit, selling off a little bit. I don't, you know, it's a massive base. So if this gets going, industrials could definitely be the next base breakout, which I guess I don't really know what the other, how to compare it to these other, you know, XLE, XLV. I guess XLV. No, I don't like talking about base breakouts in terms of entire vertical ETFs like healthcare or financial services or anything like that. That's kind of crazy. So maybe we'll just put a pause on that. But I think those names are interesting right now. As far as past names, here's the names I've been talking about, right? And this may be more interesting even than what went up today totally. So PCAR, UAL, AAL, COO, Jazz, and Gap. Okay. So if we zone in on these, so we were talking about these yesterday. PCAR had a little pullback, so that was a no. But as is always, you know, these ideas, you lose 1% or so, it's no big deal with a super tight stop. So, you know, that's that one. I'll stop doing this strafing, as it would be called. It's making all these noises. So this is the last one I'll do. UAL definitely had this awesome move. So, I mean, the levels are obvious, right? I mean, you sort of buy it when it opens, and then hopefully it just doesn't turn around. AAL did the same thing. It's no surprise they're in the same sector, right? But Love failed, so you do have to pick the ones that still look interesting and aren't, you know, just day after day after day this thing went up. At least AAL cooled off for a little bit. I don't know exactly if that's totally predictable, but whatever, you know. CCO, not to be confused with COO. It's not really going anywhere. COO is actually the one I talked about. That's still forming a flag. It's just a slow moving one. It's not an easy time to pick stocks right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Things are pretty choppy. Everyone's just screaming about Tesla and nothing else. JAZZ is still holding in there, and then the gap remains interesting as well. So keep an eye on that one. A little bit of a move today, kind of a failed breakout. But that was pre-market, so who cares? And then yesterday, as in, you know, not actually yesterday, but Monday, Twilio did go. So that one definitely liked the looks of that. It didn't make it, no, it did make it super easy actually. A lot of these did not make it super easy. It took an extra day. Walmart just failed. It's tough when something's gone up a couple days already. RVMD also got wrecked. So that's too bad. Rivian came back. Just gotta notice that these big green candles are bound to reverse. P-Lab fell off as well. So that'll happen. Those high volume closes. And then Lulu. Let's see how the Lulu earnings went. Lulu is still in the ring. That thing is holding, so keep an eye on that for sure. Prax is still not going. It's just a slow mover. I don't know if that's going to pick up or not. VRTX holding in there, so keep an eye on that for sure. Bristol Myers did go. BMY. I don't know what to do with it now. CRH. You have a level here that you can buy it off of. It gapped up and then came back. And then Latin American Bank, no. Just wasn't a super strong looking. I mean, it's tough to buy the rising moving average undercuts. They have a lower win rate. GCT. This was nice strength and a reclaim, and it's still building out, but that'll stop you out. That's tough. And then as far as more ideas, because we got a lot of them, Bloom Energy. This was, this was from Friday, December 12th. So this is tough. Tough to buy off of a dip like that. I don't love that. SanDisk, same situation, So I guess these ideas were before everything went down on Friday. That would make a lot more sense. Everything got crushed on Friday, so that's kind of what's bound to happen. Tesla, of course, Friday was solid, but it didn't make it easy. Like, the devil's in the details here on Friday. This Tesla reversed below open. PL and Wolf, Planet Labs has come down significantly, so that's kind of a no. And then Wolf got wrecked, so rough. These ones that just wedged up, just sold off. And then as for last Thursday, Lemonade, Lemonade has not made it easy at all. Gold, Gold was one of the only ones that was super clean. Did have a little bit of pullback, so definitely a trim candidate on that day. Path is another. It's tough when they're just drifting down and you're sort of buying off of a high volume close level on something that's drifting down. That just blew right through it. Rocket did not respect this rising moving average here. And then I don't know the whole rate cut narrative. Rocket, I wouldn't invest in crazy theories like that. Baidu just sold right off this Chinese thing. Kind of over the Chinese stuff right now. And then BTU just continues to build out. So it's a good spot, but it's not making it easy either. As far as Wednesday, the real just keeps going sideways. Wednesday was the 10th. Macy's didn't make it easy. But it might have gotten enough of a push to shave some off there. And then DG on Wednesday was definitely awesome. So maybe this is an interesting way to buy a high volume close. Is if you get a swift reversal, you can buy it, after an inside day, but you don't have to predict that inside day or that hold. So that's definitely something to think about for sure. And then back to Tuesday, TSM had just been drifting up there, but that started after the big failure. You got to stay away from that. And then core weave just completely rolled over. That bounce was already kind of spurious. Lemonade again. You know, Lemonade's been the talk of the town, but you might have gotten 10% if you bought it on that particular day. But shaking people out. Fig never really moved up at all. That was kind of a shot in the dark. Ulta. This is a tough day here, the 8th, to buy after. Because it's not, you know, a wick, you know, a move down and then an inside day. It's like a little reversal. So I don't know if that Ulta is going to move. And then Urban Outfitters, though, the 10th was, you know, pretty rough open. But if you were able to buy it on a move down, you definitely got a swift move up. But you got to be quick. And then Monday, EOSC on Monday. This one is rough. Anytime you have like a shelf over, you're buying over a line, that's just nothing good. CLS did have a little bit of move actually before it failed, so those big down candles can be pretty vicious. And then Cipher on Monday. It's tough to buy like after a hammer candle, it moves up. You're looking for a move to the upside, but after so many rejections, I think you kind of have to, I guess, wait for it to break out and then retest. I don't know what to do with that. It's just not easy. Wolf on that Monday was interesting, actually. So that one kind of worked. You know, that was a flag-looking thing. GEV, very spiky, that wolf. This is the 8th back here. Whoop, move up. Let's look at GEV. On the 8th, I think was pretty groovy. Did sell off a little before ultimately breaking out, but sometimes that'll get you. You know, if you just wait sometimes till 10 a.m. or like wait to buy over the previous high or something like that, that can be pretty. Still holding up, actually. GEV is definitely interesting right now. I haven't mentioned it for today, but keep an eye on that for sure. Rubric. I should get in the habit of putting this here. GEV. And then, let's see. Rubric is a no. In fact, from all of these, if we look through all of these, PCAR, UAL, AAL. Let's look at that. PCAR is still in the game. AAL, no. UAL, no. So you see, I'll move this list up so you can see what I'm doing here. These are still on watch, so I'd keep an eye on those. COO, Jazz, COO is in the game, Jazz is in the game. For sure. I know I'm going to run out of space really soon. Gap is in the game. Walmart is kind of out. Plab and Lulu are both, well, Lulu's in it, right? And then, what else? There should be a few more. VRTX, BMY, Prax, I'm just not interested anymore. I talked about that, even though it still might go. It just looks too slow. VRTX is maybe a little more interesting. BMY needs to pull back. And that CRH new GCT. Yeah, GCT is still in the game for sure. Then BE's done. SanDisk and Titan, I think, are done. I don't want that bounce on SanDisk. Titan is slightly interesting. Tesla's got to pull back some. And then PL, I think. PL is interesting still because it had a swift reversal. Okay. So, talked about gold, talked about path. There's a lot of names that are done, except for gold. That can go sideways. Real is too slow. Macy's is no. BTU is still shaping up. I don't really want to see it now, though. It came off. DG, TSM, and CoreWeave. DG is perfect. Well, except for that failure yesterday. TSM is not interesting. CoreWeave is not interesting. And that brings us to GEV, which is on this list. So that's a pretty solid list going here. Pretty much perfectly the length of this panel as well. And then as far as last week, Hood, this is the 7th this was mentioned here on this channel. Just didn't go. Just roll over. And I don't want to buy this when it's down here. And then CN also mentioned, but did actually get a pretty sick move. But can't buy it now after that earnings failure. That was just too rough, I think, of a failure. But before then, I mean, that was groovy. And then Kit and DVN. Kit is a little tiny company. That's probably not going to be interesting. Yeah, there's not anything. Heaven forbid DVN really got wrecked. This one is just so spiky. It's just, the spikiness really is a red flag. MDB is still interesting. It's just a little slow. Probably, yeah, I mean, that's still interesting. And then XPO as well sold off, but on the 7th, XPO did go, so that was awesome. But Mongo, that's too zoomed in. Mongo did go as well, but not enough. And then as far as other ones for Monday, ANF and INSP. So ANF was awesome. Now it's a short. INSP rolled over. Difference is pretty stark there as to buying stuff when it's up versus not up. IoT totally got wrecked. It's always been a choppy one. iRobot got delisted, but no one said to hold this one forever. Pretty rough move down though before that massive move, so it didn't make it easy. And then Mags. What did Mags do on Monday? Nothing too interesting. Just unwound. Don't like these channels up. Just don't like that at all. ONDS and Path. Back to Friday. ONDS, pretty much nothing there. Another channel. So, another example of why that doesn't work very often. Path, high volume close on the 5th. Not quite enough, but not horrible. an NXT and Lemonade on the 5th. NXT was just traveling sideways, so that's a no. Lemonade on the 5th. Too early, too much down moves on there. And then Sandisk and Reddit. So Sandisk was a nice reversal, but didn't quite move enough. And then Reddit was just not a strong enough flag. It already had to move up and then formed a flag. And this isn't like a big basing flag, or didn't have an earnings or any sort of news to make it do that. So not interesting there. URBN, that one was pretty good, except for made it pretty difficult with the chop there on Thursday and Friday. And just to ground ourselves, the 5th is here, so it's been pretty choppy since there. This was Thursday and Friday, the 10th and 11th. So the 5th is actually a Monday, I guess. Or whatever, a Friday, yeah. IQV on that Friday. No, I mean, this is kind of a messy flag anyway. Twilio back there, that could have been interesting. Twilio on the 5th. It went, but it broke down a little bit first. And Supfy and Cat. This thing broke down for sure. Cat was up too much. That was pretty obvious. That was not a good idea. And then this GV was a little early, I think, on the 4th. I mean, it was actually, depending on when this was announced, it was good, but it had a little sideways day, so that's probably enough of that. Here's the deal. That's a pretty significant list. You can't see the full list, but you basically can. If I sort it this way and then sort it this way, the only one you're missing is like all these, and then the 3 on the bottom below the GEV highlighter, WWD, CD, and Jazz. But I already mentioned the 6 stocks that I think are interesting right now. COF, SIL, CMI, CBRE, EL. There's actually quite a few here. But SIL is the top one, with AG being the way to play that. So that's what we got going on here. And then, I don't know, I guess we can just like scroll Twitter for stock ideas now at this point. I mean, there's only so much that's going on right now in terms of, the top stocks to buy. So I think the data center narrative is still in play. People definitely say that, the electricity thing is not that interesting. Berkshire will do $15 billion more in net income this year. Blah, 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 blah. Buffett would be worth a bunch. Yeah, so we're comparing Buffett and Elon Musk's net worth. That's not helpful. This is a private company, whatever. SpaceX has to choose its ticker. That's going to be riveting. What else? I don't know if there's any major fundamental stories happening here. I mean, overnight trading is not going to help anyone. Some of these stocks already trade overnight, so that's fine. This is a piece of Tesla news that is notable, actually. Tesla sales suspended in California for 30 days. That might have been what the drop was 30 minutes ago. If we look at that, Tesla seems to be shaking it off, but it definitely caused a bit of a aberration. Oh, Michael Lewis is going to write a book about Warren Buffett. That might be hearsay. What else we got cooking here on the old town square? Got any Palantir news? I don't think so. Palantir is kind of an interesting spot, but it's not anything worth buying right now, in my opinion. This is funny. Oh my god. Americans go to parties to meet people while the British go to parties to meet people they already know. Alright. And then what else we got? I hesitate to even look over here just because utilities, blah, 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 for contractors. White House is preferring an executive order that could limit stock buybacks, dividends, and executive compensation for military contractors. That's the whole military-industrial complex breakup. Keep an eye on that. I don't know that that's going to totally mess with KTOS or BBAI or Palantir or Lockheed Martin. What else here? Somebody's dog got cancer or something. Or kidney stones. Be careful with that. That's terrible. Actually, don't know how kidney stones created, but oh yeah, AI stocks. AI. I don't think we really have to worry about anything super AI related. These soon serve RR stocks are pretty uninteresting right now. Soon is down a lot. RR is down a lot. Serve, it kind of rolled over. I don't think you need to get too crazy in those. Somebody called Tesla. That's great. That's really great. Some sort of ambassador to El Salvador got bought or nominated or got the Pulitzer Prize. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here with this. Non-stock news. This thing is useful sometimes. China's Commerce Ministry efforts to promote some sort of thing. Coal unit to remain online. Oh yeah, what about coal names? What are coal names? What are coal stock names? I know it's not HXL, but there's one major one. Oh yeah, it's BT. We already talked about that. HXL is in no man's land. HCC. Oh yeah, AREC is one that can be sometimes interesting in METC. So AREC and METC look horrible, so BTU is our only hope. Not that we need to be hoping for coal domination, but oh boy, what else do we have for stocks right now? Japan's exports expand for third month in a row, blah blah blah. SQM, I think that's a lithium name. How are the lithium names doing? SQM's holding in there. LAC is doing nothing. Boy. I think rare earths are still interesting. For sure. John Arnold has a take. Okay. This is big if it's big. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled. They return to the United States for all the oil and land that they previously stole for us. The illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from this to finance themselves. Declared them as a terrorist organization. Okay, well, I don't think there's any Venezuela stocks that are even publicly listed that are moving a lot, that are also over $1 billion market cap. I could be wrong. Oil is down right now. USO is the main oil stock, right? That's down. So oil prices go down, we have more oil. So I wouldn't think that truth post is related to the market. Oh boy. ALB looks okay, that's chemical name. Oh boy. Is this earnings? MUGS and JBL? Is that right? Oh yeah, they have earnings coming up. I guess not. I don't see where Goldman Sachs earnings. I don't see that at all. It says it on here though, so maybe they are here. Are you talking about General Mills? I hate the logos on the earnings calendar. Like I don't know what these are. I don't know that. I'm just gonna ignore that. Just trying to look for big market moving news right now for the purposes of this market update. Oh yeah, there was the payroll rise unemployment number today. Went up to like 4% or something. The market went sideways, so unemployment rose by 0.1%. Jobs revised down. So a little up, but not super. Not super active. Chevron says that Venezuela operations are stable. Chevron's been there for years, apparently. Trump admin renewed their license. So this is probably not the black swan that's going to crash the markets. Chevron prices down, but I think, yeah, the price of oil is not always related to supply and demand. That's what it seems like to me. There's bad news, or although when there's war-related news, the oil price spikes. So this is confusing. Whatever. Just keep seeing what else is going on here. Fed rate cut prospects help gold. Is that true? I don't think the Fed has a plan to cut rates. Right? You can go to this website too. Fed rate cut chance, right? It's like Fed Watch. And it says when the next meeting is, which is in like more than a month. God dang, what is going on with these pop-ups on this CME group? And then they say what's the likelihood that they're going to do stuff like that. So that's Fed Watch. And that number comes from the Fed funds future price. So that's the target rate, 3.5% or something like that. Yeah, and that's the chance that that's going to happen for January. So I don't know if that's the rate right now. What is the Fed funds rate right now? I guess any serious investor would know that. But really has nothing to do with buying individual stocks. So whatever, someone can comment it. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. Market changes. Light. I don't want to look at these. I don't like these bottom bouncing ones. The electronics, optoelectronics ones. Oh my god. We already talked about eliminating gold and mu. We gotta let the memory names bottom. What else here? The whole AI LLM narrative. But the big tech names are not interesting. Yeah. I don't know who the Luminar CEO is. What was the ticker for that? Doesn't matter. It's already gone. IPO'd and gone. Oh boy. EOS. Battery names are gone. We gotta stop looking at old stuff, start looking at new stuff. New stuff. Don't worry about this delivery stuff of silver and gold or whatever. Oh boy. App can trend, but I don't know that app is interesting right here. I just haven't had great success with predicting like left side peak undercut reversals. Like flags have been doing better. So we'll just ignore all that. And then as far as other market related news, I'm getting too in the weeds here with all this stuff. There's only so much you can say about Tesla. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Leibu. That was interesting. Is Leibu still holding in there? Kind of. That thing needs to shape up a little bit, or what's the other biotech ETF that's not Leibu? XBI. What about yeah, that's just barely on the list, I guess. There's really not this Japan number stuff. I don't know that is really that important to imports. Didn't meet expectations. I don't think we have to worry about that too much. So this is the DMV that's messing up with the Tesla thing. So that's what the suspension is. So the company gets a chance to comply though. True. Elon v. California continues. What else here? Okay. Anything else constructive here? It's just not that much. Really. Oh yeah, people really like to talk about stuff that has the PE and stuff. If you care about that, let me know what it means, but I haven't seen that really be useful for what we're doing here. Yeah, so tiny names. I don't know what else we got cooking here. That's a picture of a raccoon. To see if there's any more public market news. I don't know that there really is. There's just only so much going on. Palladium. I guess we can look at these shorts if we're getting all shorty here. So Dash maybe, because below 200. Costco after earnings, and then Palladium maybe. If that's your, and then maybe this AEO and ANF. But I guess I won't mention those. You have to have a separate watch list. Ooh, Bernie's not stoked on data centers. Unregulated Sprint. Okay, the CEO says stuff about cars. Okay. And what else? Jobs data help rate cutouts, I guess. I don't know if that actually changed the rate cutouts. This is really going to just... means ASTS should like the jobs data. It's just this is gonna make my brain melt. This Fed stuff. Seeing you then. Some sort of hidden message about seeing in the White House. Okay, great. This has been constructive. So, once again, these are the ideas if you're just tuning in to this recorded video somehow. Take a look at those. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. It makes the ideas better, makes the video better. If you want a free course on how to buy the best stocks, how to find the next NVIDIA without gambling on startups, hit that subscribe. It could change your life. And if you want to ask questions, if you want to trade alongside, let's say you have 7 days that you want to try this out, head over to stockscommunity.com. There are a couple folks in there who did super well, and you can see their results. Not saying you're going to achieve those, but yeah. stockscommunity.com. Peace.
Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.